Bahrain 2025 wasn't just the first race of the season, it was a psychological meltdown for Formula One foot's two biggest stars. Lewis Hamilton's dream Ferrari debut turned into a nightmare, with the SF25 exposing all too familiar weaknesses. Max Verstappen, meanwhile, dropped a bombshell after qualifying, saying he's just here to take part. No championship fight, no confidence in the car, Ferrari's handling issues pushed one driver to adapt and left the other searching. Red Bull? No longer the well-oiled machine it once was. This wasn't just a race, it was the moment everything began to fall apart. For months, fans had waited for this moment. The day Lewis Hamilton would finally step into a red suit, drive a prancing horse, and begin a brand new chapter with Scuderia Ferrari. It wasn't just a driver changing teams, it was a generational moment, a career reboot, a symbol of unfinished business. After years of battling Mercedes machinery and watching Red Bull run riot, the dream was simple. Ferrari would give Hamilton a platform, and he'd give them glory. Bahrain 2025 was supposed to be the fairy tale beginning, but reality? It hit harder than anyone expected. The SF25 was anticipated as Ferrari's answer to Red Bull's dominance, a car built to challenge, not chase. But from the very first lap of practice in Sakhir, Hamilton looked uncomfortable. The same driver who once carved up the grid with calculated aggression and laser-sharp precision looked unsure, hesitant even. As the weekend unfolded, it became clear Bahrain wasn't going to be a coronation, it was going to be a crisis. The SF25 had problems, big ones. And cruelly, they were the exact kind of problems Hamilton thought he'd left behind. Let's talk handling. The rear of the Ferrari was a live wire, twitchy on corner exit, unstable under braking, and wildly unpredictable in high-speed sections. Sound familiar? It should, because those were the exact gremlins Hamilton had battled for 2 straight seasons in the Mercedes W13 and W14. The promise was that Ferrari's design philosophy would finally give him a car that rotated the way he liked, planted, precise, and confidence-inspiring. But in Bahrain, he found none of that. Instead, he found himself in a car eerily similar to the one he'd just left. The same lack of rear grip, the same hesitancy on corner entry, the same compromised confidence that made it impossible to push on the limit. It was a brutal flashback. Post-qualifying, Hamilton sounded defeated. Not angry, not fiery, just flat. He admitted he couldn't get the rear to behave. He admitted he was losing time through the very corners he used to master. Turn 5, Turn 6, Turn 11, all high-speed sweepers that exposed the SF25's biggest flaw. And while Charles Leclerc managed to wrestle the car into a semi-competitive state, Hamilton was left trying to tame a beast that didn't want to be tamed. The real stinger? Leclerc had found something in the setup. During Bahrain testing, he experimented with rear spring stiffness and ride height. It worked. The car was still a handful, but he could predict it, control it, exploit it. Hamilton tried to follow suit, but the setup didn't work for him. He admitted as much. "Fent direction didn't suit me," he said, "and I won't be doing that again." Translation? Leclerc is adapting, Hamilton is surviving. And that's a problem, because adaptability has always been Hamilton's strength. From McLaren to Mercedes, from V8S to V6 turbos, from Bridgestone to Pirelli, Hamilton evolved, he reinvented himself. But here in Bahrain, with all the fanfare and pressure of his Ferrari debut, he looked like a man still stuck in Mercedes mode. He was searching for stability, searching for confidence, and in the process dialing down the car's performance just to feel comfortable. That's not what wins races, that's what gets you lapped. To make matters worse, this isn't just about pace, it's about perception. Ferrari didn't bring Hamilton in to finish 7th. They brought him in to end the drought, to bring back the titles, to become the icon in red. And after Bahrain, the Italian media weren't pulling punches. Words like underwhelming, uncertain, and even past it started surfacing. The Tifosi love hard, but they criticize even harder. There's also the matter of timing. Hamilton is 40. Leclerc is in his prime. Red Bull may be wobbling, but McLaren and Aston Martin are rising. The window to win is closing. And if Ferrari doesn't give Hamilton a car he can believe in, fast, that window might slam shut entirely. Bahrain was supposed to be page 1 of the comeback story. Instead, it felt like a rerun. The same problems, the same frustrations, the same story, just in red. But here's the thing about Hamilton. He's been here before, written off, counted out, and each time he finds a way back. Maybe Bahrain was the rude awakening he needed. Maybe the engineers saw what went wrong and are already working on fixes. Maybe this nightmare is the first act of a redemption arc so good it writes itself. Or maybe, just maybe, Ferrari was never the answer. Either way, Bahrain 2025 didn't just start a season, it sparked 1,000 questions. And right now, even Lewis Hamilton doesn't have the answers. Max Verstappen isn't the kind of guy who minces words. He's blunt, focused, and often brutally honest. A refreshing rarity in a sport full of polished PR lines. But when the three-time world champion walked into post-qualifying interviews in Bahrain 2025 and uttered the words, "In at the moment, I'm not here to fight for the championship. I can't. I don't have the tools. I'm just here to take part," the entire F1 world stopped. Those aren't just words, that's a statement with the weight of an era behind it. It signals frustration, resignation, and maybe even the beginning of the end for his Red Bull chapter. And for a driver who has been nearly untouchable for 3 seasons straight, that's seismic. Let's unpack how we got here and why Verstappen's quote may have just blown the 2025 season wide open. Rewind just 1 year. Verstappen was unstoppable, Red Bull was invincible, the R&B 20 was a rocket ship, and Max was making it dance around circuits like a magician on rails. Every race felt inevitable. He wasn't just winning, he was dominating. Winning became the default. But fast forward to Bahrain 2025, and it's a completely different picture. The RB21 isn't the dominant beast its predecessor was. It's unpredictable, unstable, and frustratingly uncompetitive, especially in the hands of a driver used to perfection. The once fearsome Red Bull has lost its fangs, and the timing couldn't be worse. Why? Because under the surface, the team is falling apart. Adrian Newey, the genius who engineered Verstappen's dominance, has exited. So has Rob Marshall. The internal stability that once defined Red Bull has now been replaced with uncertainty, reshuffling, and political power struggles. Helmut Marko is quieter. Christian Horner is fighting battles of his own. And Max, he's just trying to find pace in a car that no longer responds to his touch. So when Verstappen says he's just here to take part, it's not just a casual comment. It's an admission of helplessness. And for someone like Max, who's built a career on control, that's almost unthinkable. Let's not forget what's at stake here. Verstappen isn't just another driver trying to prove himself. He's chasing 5 world titles. That's rarefied air, the kind of achievement that cements a legacy next to legends like Fangio and Vettel. So for him to say that he's not fighting for the title this year, that hits hard. It suggests that he's mentally checked out of the championship fight in race 1. And that changes everything. Max Verstappen doesn't race for fun. He doesn't race for participation. He races to win, full stop. So if he feels he can't even compete, the psychological toll could be immense. That kind of public declaration also sends shockwaves through the paddock. Other teams smell blood. Rivals see an opening. Fans start asking, is the Verstappen-Red Bull dynasty over? Internally, Red Bull Racing is no longer the tight unit it once was. For years it ran like a machine, ruthless, efficient, and laser-focused on success, but that machine has started to rust. Key personnel are gone, trust is eroding. The car development philosophy is no longer sharp and innovative, it's reactive and confused. The RB21, by all accounts, is a step backward, and when your top driver loses faith in the project, the whole operation starts to wobble. Max Verstappen was always Red Bull's North Star. They built everything around him. Now even he is casting doubt on the team's ability to deliver. That's not just bad optics, that's potentially catastrophic for morale. And just like that, Bahrain 2025 might have changed everything. For Hamilton, the Ferrari fairy tale is already fraying, the car's flaws echoing the ghosts of Mercedes' past. For Verstappen, the man chasing 5 world titles, the fire is flickering as faith in Red Bull fades. 1 race in, and the cracks are already showing. If this is the start, what happens when the pressure really kicks in? Bahrain didn't just expose performance issues. It exposed doubt, frustration, and the beginning of what could be the end of 2 dynasties. This season just got real, and it's only lap 1.